So hello fellow Earthlings, this is Earthling 6455463728. And I was thinking, cancel culture probably is not real. In spite of the fact that Joe Rogan is always complaining about this and, you name it, whoever he's talking to, you're probably going to end up talking about the fact that nobody's talking about the fact that vitamin D can reduce your chances of catching this virus. The fact about how cancel culture is so horrible and all these other things. And yet, in spite of how horrible cancel culture is, Justin Trudeau admitted to having blackface on. And guess what? He is still the Prime Minister or President. I'm going to go with Prime Minister of Canada. So yeah, cancel culture was not able to kick him out of office. Sure, a lot of people decided not to vote for him. A friend of mine decided that they were going to vote for the Green Party instead of voting for him because they couldn't vote for the opposition. But he is still there. He still has a job as the leader of Canada. And if you look at it, it's the same thing with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was accused of pedophilia. Okay? Went through all of the court cases and everything. But before he died, he was able to, he was going to probably have sellout tours around the world. And, somebody like Joe Rogan might say, oh, yeah, well, that was a little bit before cancel culture really started working, But Louis C.K. is still doing clubs. Yeah, he might not get on TV, but there's lots of places that will still hire him to do, perform for them. Probably not the White House, probably not Google, but, well, of course, given the pandemic and stuff like that, yeah, he's probably going to have a lot less work than he would have otherwise. But I saw a video by some more news, and they made some really valid points that a lot of these people they've lost, in terms of their fame. They can't go on talk shows anymore. But that was probably going to happen anyway as they were less famous. I mean, think about Madonna. Madonna used to be everywhere all the time. And now she's still Madonna. But when was the last time you saw an interview with Madonna? And yeah, she's not cancelled, but she's still working. Just like a lot of these people, and still making lots of money, just like a lot of these people who have allegedly been cancelled. And if you look at the worst of them, for example, Bill Cosby, pretty soon he's going to be out of jail and back to being a free guy. Maybe people are not going to line up to listen to him talk, but given how people's health is going down, if you look at Sean Connery, he died recently, that was probably going to happen anyway. Yeah, getting convicted of some kind of sexual crime definitely hastened his disappearance from the public eye, if you will. But cancel culture, yeah, there's a couple of people on Twitter. There may be hundreds of thousands even. You just don't go on Twitter if you're being cancelled. I hear people say, when they come for you. When who comes for you? Nobody's coming for you. Nobody cares enough about any of these things to come for you. They have jobs. Probably not now. They probably have a lot more free time, but they still have kids and families and whatever else. There is nobody coming for you. all most people are going to do is just talk. They're going to insult you, they're going to say bad things about you, yada yada yada, lots of talk, and then it passes. That's the end of it. Joe Rogan has himself made, many faux pas, one might say, in the past, and for a lot of these things he might just apologize, or he might, as he says, just not go on social media for a while. So I don't understand why he keeps complaining about a thing that can't seem to even affect him, even though he's so much in the media eye. Now let's look at one person who was cancelled. Let's say, was it Milo, whatever his name was, from Breitbart. He, I guess, would have been cancelled because he was talking about having attended a party with lots of underage boys. He lost his job at Breitbart, etc. And he was no longer, the media wasn't covering him very much. But let's look at somebody else who was not cancelled, like Ann Coulter. She's a right-wing author and spokesperson and whatever else. Where is she? She is just as nowhere as Milo, whatever his name was. I remember when she used to have, the media would be especially paying attention to it, book after book after book, and she would be on Bill Maher, she would be on maybe CNN or some of these places, giving her opinion about this, that, and the other. And now, where is she? Nobody cares. And she didn't get cancelled. She just faded away. Nobody cares about what she's saying these days. And so there's a lot of people get popular. Everybody gets their 15 minutes. And if you're really good at it, like Madonna was, for example, or like Michael Jackson was, for example, or like, what's that guy's name? Paul McCartney, you have the songs that are coming out, or even, what's his name? Kanye West, or some of these other people. You can have a really, really long career if you're good at stirring up controversy. But if you aren't, then you can be like No Doubt, or you can be like Miley Cyrus, or you can be like, or NSYNC, or Justin Timberlake, or any number of people who we just aren't paying any attention to as much anymore. But you're not cancelled. Nobody cancelled you. And then there are other people who were cancelled. And to me, in some ways, some people should be glad to be cancelled, because it's like the supernova of a star. For a short period of time, more people than you probably ever had a right to expect to will know who you are. And if you are able to leverage that, you might be able to come back in an even better way than you would have if you had not been cancelled. Let's take Vanessa Williams, for example. She was a Miss America, I believe. And at some point, there were these pictures of her where she posed topless, I think. And Miss America took away her title. And for that period of time, I guess you could say that she got cancelled in that day and age when she was. But now people know Vanessa Williams. Not as much anymore. I mean, she was on Betty the Ugly, I think it was, for quite a while. She was acting for quite a while. I don't know what she's doing right now. But she is one of the only Miss Americas that I know. And that's because she got cancelled. In any given year, there's a Miss America. And most of the time, nobody gives her. But because of the controversy that surrounded her, she became a supernova. And in that year where she lost the title of Miss America, she got much more attention than she ever had a right to expect. Yeah, it was negative attention, but she didn't, crawl into a hole and die. She, I believe, she could have gone to any country or any place and just hidden away the way that people used to do in the past. And when they had like a kid or something out of wedlock. But no, she didn't do that. She went on to act in a bunch of really cool movies. I think one of them was Arnold Schwarzenegger, at least. That one was about a gun that could see through walls and shoot through walls and stuff. And basically she became much, much more famous than if she had just never been in our controversy. So I think, Joe, because if I'll be talking to you every time I click on one of your videos to see if the person is interesting enough to warrant my time, somehow you get into that conversation about cancel culture and it's not a thing. I know that you're used to talking about things that are not real, like Bigfoot and aliens. There are aliens, definitely. Statistically speaking, there are aliens whom you and I will never meet, who are not whizzing around planet Earth in different transportation devices. Definitively, they are not. We are not looking for, any dead aliens from Area 51 or anything like that. I think, Joe, that this is just one of those other things that are not true. That I thought that you had stopped paying attention to. But I guess if it's not an animal that you can't prove doesn't exist, and it's this ephemeral cancel culture thing that nobody can ever prove doesn't exist, you're just going to keep talking about it until thy kingdom come. But yeah, it doesn't really exist. Ask any of your friends. If somebody did something illegal and they can get, convicted of it, or at least charged and put on trial, like Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, one of these people, then yeah, that's the thing. That's a real thing. But most of the time, people, when something happens to them that happened, for example, a similar thing that happened to Vanessa Williams, people cancel themselves. That's really more often than not what happens. They don't come for you. You just run away thinking that they're coming, I suppose. Or you're just embarrassed and you just hide. That's what cancel culture is. Where people get embarrassed and they hide. Because if you stand up in the sun and listen to all those people booing and catcalling you, that's attention. That's attention. That's more attention than you probably will ever get for the rest of your life. And if you can withstand that, you're probably going to come out on the next side even more famous than you were. Look at Donald Trump. He has had so many sexual assault allegations and sexual impropriety allegations and stuff that came out of his own mouth. And he hasn't been cancelled. People love him more than ever. Cancel culture is not a thing. Maybe run away and hide culture is a thing, where that's what people do and that's what happens to them. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening, and as always, you can like, you can comment, you can subscribe, and of course, I wouldn't prefer it, but you can do nothing. Peace.